I'd like to welcome you this evening. I'm Mark Thomas. I'm the Western District Director of the Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation here in Western New York. And we're here tonight to present to you the preliminary plan for the West River Connector Trail, Greenway Connector Trail. And I'm going to walk you through a couple of things. We had a public input session from you residents last fall at the Grand Island Town Hall, and then we had 3 focus groups. We had a lot of very, very well crafted and thought through public comments that were handed to us in writing, as well by the community, and we've taken all that and woven it together into a plan we present to you this evening as a draft or a preliminary plan. We'll take that input tonight. We were going to present that by our consultants, CNS engineers, but before that we'll have your town supervisor speak for a few moments, and then we'll have a comment period this evening where you will be able to come up to the microphones on either side. You'll have a 2-minute window to speak, and we invite you as well that you have written comments, that you would get those to us either this evening or via the mail or email, however you want to get that back to us. So we want to hear from you as well, and if you can in writing, it would be appreciated. So this evening we will be doing that. That's the order. It'll be, first will be the town supervisor, followed by CNS engineers preliminary plan presentation, and then the public comment period. So that's what we have in store this evening, and we're going to move right through that agenda. So without any further ado, I'd like to invite your town supervisor, Nate McMurray, to podium to speak. Thank you.
I'll keep my comments very brief so we have more time to speak. The first thing I want to talk about the rules for the comment period tonight. It's not actually a hearing or a question and answer period. It's going to be a chance for you to make comments, for us to record those comments. But I want us to remind everyone that we are neighbors. Now, some of you may be for this, some of you may be against this, some of you may support me as supervisor, some of you may hate my guts. This is not the forum to discuss a lot of that. We're here to comment on the plan before you. Also, so everyone has a chance to speak and speak openly and freely, I ask you to politely listen when other people speak. No catcalling, no insults, no threats. If anyone engages in such behavior, we're going to ask you to leave, and you'll be responsible for the consequences of that behavior. Now, I was able to take part in many hearings like Grand Island Supervisor in the last 7 months. They've all been very respectful. I've been amazed by the quality of the people on Grand Island. On Monday night, we had a hearing about a very contentious issue, trapping. People felt very emotional on both sides. We had more people there than we have tonight here. But there wasn't any insults, there was no threats. There was a lot of mutual respect. It's hard to get up here and speak and to say something. So when someone gets up here, I'd ask you to put yourself in their shoes. You can applaud comments, you can be supportive of comments, but this should not be a situation where we make our neighbors feel threatened and unwelcome. So, thank you for listening to that part of this. I want to talk about this plan for a second. Now, you know I championed it. I'm very supportive of it. But this has been a long time coming for this plan. It's been talked about for years. When I became supervisor, I reached out to Mark, and he was very welcoming, and we talked about it, and he talked about some of his concerns, and he talked about all the feedback they received, and we went over the comments, and he said, let's try to figure out a way to take these comments and create a plan that's better. Now, the plan you see here today is not the final draft. It's an early draft. It's going to have to go through a lot more work, a lot more touching up. I heard some complaints this morning about some of the locations of the parking locations. That's stuff we can discuss. We'd love your feedback on that. I know, for example, down by Beaver Island, there's already a paved area where you can park, so maybe it's not necessary to have a parking path or a parking spot right above it. I also want to dispel some rumors I've heard. We went out of our way to try to support other uses of that area. We know a lot of you snowmobile. We know a lot of you hunt. So as you can see, the duck lines are all there. The shoreline will not be touched by this plan. We also took into account the complaints previously about visibility. We want to make sure that those who already live there have a clear view of the river, and we don't create structures that create a blockage to their view. We also want to think about the best way to use the parkway. You're going to hear tonight about the parkway and how underused it is currently. You're going to see objective stats that were collected. You're going to see other comments. And before I close, I want to talk about the history of that parkway. There was some confusion about that as well. Originally, when I was talking to people about this, they told me, several people told me, this was Olmsted's plan, was to have that parkway there. Well, that's completely incorrect. Olmsted believed in greenways that would have people closer to nature. The person who created that plan was Robert Moses. Robert Moses is famous for paving asphalt roads through communities and through green space all over New York State, all of which are being torn up today, or many of which are being torn up today, because they didn't have a use. They were built for a different era. The era I want to help, I want to champion, and with your help and your input and feedback we can get to, is an era where we embrace nature, where we create something that extends the beauty that we're creating in Buffalo with the reclaiming of the waterfront. We can repurpose this. That's a word you hear about a lot lately. What does repurposing mean? We're repurposing old subway stations. They're repurposing old factories. And recently I was at a pizza place that was an old gas station. This is an era of taking old things that aren't really in use anymore and turning them into something new. I think we can do this with this plan. So you heard my comments. I look forward to your comments. Thank you very much for being respectful during my comments. Please do so throughout the night. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Victor O'Brien with C&S Engineers. We're the design consultant for the design on the project. And I have a short PowerPoint presentation that will give you the history of the project up until now to get you to the point where we are today. Let's get a little this. Okay, this is the same image you've been seeing here on this board. It just gives you the overview of the project. Most of you are familiar with it. You've got Buckhorn Island is the green at the north end, Beaver Island on the south end. The yellow line that connects them is the proposed project. You can see, just for reference, where the I-190 goes through here. That's just to give you the overall big picture. Okay, so this project started with an application for the town of Grand Island for a TAP grant. That's a Transportation Alternatives grant. It's a federal grant. And the town applied for that. The sponsor was New York State Parks. It was submitted in June 2014 and approved in October. So with the grant being approved, a budget was established of $2.5 million. That's for design and construction. Typically those grants are an 80-20, where the federal money is 80%, the local match is 20%. In this case, the numbers are slightly different because the local match ended up being a little bit higher. So these are the objectives of the project. To provide an alternative transportation connection between the cities of Buffalo and Niagara Falls that will be safer for non-motorized vehicles, provide a critical missing link in the Niagara River Greenway trail system, enhance connectivity and improve pedestrian and bicycle safety, improve air quality, promote health through physical activity, and construct the entire connector trail. This is one public information meeting, obviously, but as many of you know, last October we had another meeting. You are required, because of the federal funding, to have at least one public information meeting. This is our second. There were also several other meetings that we would like to call focus group meetings. Those took place on November 10th, 2015. The first one was with Buffalo Riverkeeper Go Bike, and the Niagara River Greenway Commission. The second was with the Town Recreation and Conservation Boards, and the third was with the West River Homeowners Association. We got a lot of good information, a lot of positive input and really good ideas from these meetings, as well as the public information meeting that was held on October 6th. And I thank everyone for coming and providing that information, because with that, it enables us to give a better project. So I have a stack like this of comments that we went through, and there were some common themes in there. So I tried to go through and summarize them. So this is sort of the best I could come up with on one slide to make it simple. But there was definitely a concern with guardrail signs and other obstructions that would potentially affect the view of the river. Supervisor McMurray had already mentioned that. Safety concerns, close proximity to a 55-mile-an-hour parkway, and also safety with intersections with the side streets. I know there was one occasion at least where somebody had been critically injured going down West River Road at one of these intersections. Another idea that came out of these meetings was to convert the existing parkway to the trail. Concerned with future maintenance concerns regard to mowing and pavement maintenance of an additional piece of asphalt, brush clearing, and other environmental concerns. You know, I skipped a big one here. Proximity of the trail to the homes on West Oakfield Road. Down in that end where the circle is, there's very limited room there. It was very close to the residences there. And then there was they asked to consider other locations in the town. So based on that, we took that information and tried to come up with 3 alternatives that we could evaluate further. So the first one was just to construct a brand new 10-foot wide trail that goes from Beaver Island all the way up to Long Road, where the existing trail is by the Eagle Overlook. And that would be between the parkway and the river. That was number 1. Number 2 is very similar to that, except the trail would actually start where the Spalding Trail is on South Parkway, cross South Parkway, use the snowmobile trail through the woods, then go onto the median between East Oakfield and Bush Road and the parkway, then actually cross the parkway near Alt Road, and then follow the same alignment along the river up north. The third that we looked at was to close the parkway to vehicular traffic between Long Road and West Oakfield and convert that to the trail. In doing that, we looked at the traffic volumes on the roads, specifically the parkway. This image that you see here comes right off the DOT website. Anyone can go on there and get this information. You will get the map. There's a bunch of small numbers on there that indicate what the traffic counts are. We've highlighted some just so you can see them. It's important to note that actually if you go on the website, there's little dots and you can click on a dot, you can get the full traffic count and see what these numbers are. But basically, what they represent is the average daily traffic on that road in number of vehicles in both directions. So it's northbound and south, okay? They are taken during the summer. Normally you don't do it during the winter because those are the tubes that you put across the road and the plows rip them out. So these are summertime counts. So what you're looking at on West River Parkway is on the north half, 1,366 cars a day. On the south half, 336 cars per day. Now, is that a lot? I don't know, you gotta put it in perspective. For a parkway, compare it to Long Road, which is a residential type collector road, there's 2,900 cars per day. Okay, and that's not a parkway. East River Road has 2,300 cars a day. Again, it's not a parkway, it's a residential street, and it's actually a lot narrower and more windy than West River. Love Road, similar example, 3,000 cars per day. Grand Island Boulevard, well, obviously that is going to be a lot more, but just to give you some comparison, that's almost 10,000 cars stay on Grand Island Boulevard. So after doing our due diligence and our analyses, we've determined that the preferred alternative is alternative 3. That's closing the parkway and repurposing the pavement as the new trail. This is strongly supported by State Parks, the Town of Grand Island, based on the analyses that we've done. Okay, it meets all the project objectives. It causes the least environmental impact. It's practical, sustainable, and park-friendly. It addresses most of the safety concerns, access, resident viewshed concerns, and it has a minimal impact on maintenance and operation costs because we're not really adding any new infrastructure. This chart's just a comparison of the different alternatives in the columns. So you have column 1 is alternative 1, alternative 2, alternative 3. And the first thing you look at is the construction cost. Because we're using existing pavement, we're at $1.8 million versus $2.9 million to construct a brand new trail for the whole length. Wetland impacts, they're all pretty similar, but slightly less on option 3. Tree removal, 2 and 3 are the same at 8. Option 1 is 20 trees removed. Brush and woods clearing, again, 0.24 acres on option 3 versus 2.4 and 1.8 on the other 2 options. But I mean, most of this shouldn't come to a surprise. We're using existing pavement and infrastructure that's already there. So obviously these impacts are going to be a lot less. So this is the same image you have here. Again, Beaver Island, the greener parks, Buckhorn Island, and then you got Big 6 Marina here. The yellow line is the proposed trail. And you'll notice a couple things. There's some yellow dots. I don't know how well you can see them, these larger yellow dots. There's 7 of them. Those would be new parking areas that we're proposing to provide access along the river for a variety of reasons, duck hunting, just to get down to the river, people to drive to, get their bikes out, etc. There's 2 red squares. Those are the existing overlooks, one's at Fix, one's up near Whitehaven. And actually, you also got the Eagle overlook up here to the north, just north of Long Road. Each one of those is a kayak launch area, so that's what the blue star next to each one of those red dots is. And all the little duck symbols are the duck blinds, which aren't going anywhere. They'll still be duck hunting. So just on this slide here, I'm just zooming in. This happens to be the existing overlook at Fix Road, and you can see there's a couple section cuts. You see the AA and the DB. We would reconfigure this intersection to allow people to use the overlook still, to park there, to access the water, to launch kayaks. But you can see that's the new trail over the existing parkway. And what that would look like is this, where you've actually got 24 feet of pavement, so you could actually have 2 lanes in each direction. That would allow walkers or rollerbladers or slower bike riders to stay on the right and faster bikers to move on the left, and we would just keep the whole pavement width, and you could have 2 6-foot lanes, which is adequate. It's more than adequate by design standards. So that'd be the typical section for reusing the parkway. I'm just going to go back at the intersection here. We introduced these medians at a couple locations, and the section there looks like what you see here, where we're doing a couple things here. The median is just to kind of beautify, add some interest, but it also narrows the lane so somebody can't turn from the road onto the parkway, and it also slows down bicyclists coming into that intersection so they can be more aware. Similar like, when you go into the roundabout and the lanes taper down to get you to slow down, sort of the same idea. So it's a multi-purpose thing. Now, there's a part of West River Parkway that we're going to leave open near Beaver Island because you need access to East and West Oakfield roads. So this section, we'd actually have a new trail, which you see here, and that's a 10-foot wide trail, and that would start at the existing trail by the toll at Beaver Island Park. And that trail section would be just a 10-foot wide, more similar to what you're used to for a bike path section. It's a 10-foot wide, asphalt paved, 5-foot graded shoulders. That would extend up until West Oakfield. And this is, as you all know, or many of you know, that's the portion where the highway becomes seasonal use. So that's where we're switching it over. Everything to the left on the drawing would stay open, that part of West River Parkway. And this is where we would make the transition onto the parkway. This is just another view, blow-up view of the existing overlook at Fix Road and how we would reconfigure the pavement there to allow people to cross the parkway and continue using the overlook with the vegetated medians that I already discussed. This is a typical parking lot that we talked about. They're small, they're only 10 cars. And what we're doing here is, these would be at Bedell, Staley, where you typically have the intersections now. That intersection to the parkway would be removed and it would just dead end into a parking lot. So we create access to a parking lot and we remove direct vehicle access to the parkway so people aren't accidentally driving on it. And I think we have 6 of these proposed at this point. And then we're gonna do a little work on where people park now, the bridge that goes over the Big 6 Creek Marina there. People park there now, we'll just stripe that a little better and people can still park there if they wanna go down and fish off the jetty that's out there. Okay, here's the next steps, and you can read the bullets, but I'll just read them. So we're looking to get NYSDOT, that's this New York State DOT design approval this fall, and have final design by spring of 2017, bid it summer, about a year from now, and begin construction in the fall of 2017, and have construction complete 2018. So now I'm going to turn it over to Mark Mistretta.
Hey Mark, before you do that, I just want to say, Nick O'Brien, the person who did the presentation, he's an Islander. I know he's stressed out about this, but he lives among us. He's a resident of Grand Island. Can we give him a round of applause, please?
Good evening, and thank you for that brief presentation as promised, so we could get to the main event for the evening, which is to listen to you, to receive your comments tonight. Just to echo the protocol of what the supervisor was suggesting earlier, just a few rules of engagement. We remind you we'd like you to keep your comments to 2 minutes. Please be respectful. Raise your hand when you want to speak, and then come to the mic. Line up, if you will. We will get to everyone. If you're too shy to speak, we'd certainly encourage you to write your comments down. Or if you did speak and you think of something later, write your comments down. Write your comments down. That's the thing, because what happens is we'll be able to include those comments in a design report that gets submitted to the Department of Transportation. So that would be helpful for us, and then this way you can say exactly what you want to say. Anne's just going to record briefly just some general comments that you can see going up, but the more detail, the better. Also, please, one time up at the mic. If we get through everyone and we still have some time, we'll go for a second round, but we want to make sure we get to everyone. So we appreciate your cooperation. So with that, people, if you could please join us with comments. Who would like to start?
Mark, I'll start.
I just have a question on the duck hunting. You say the blinds are still going to be there. How do we get to them?
Okay, tonight we're going to receive comments. what we'd like to do is record the comments. If we get into question and answer, we could probably be here all night. And we did record those concerns earlier. We are keeping that in mind, and access will be provided.
Would you have to use the parking areas that you have?
What is your preference? You want to make sure that your parking is not taken away.
Right. I'd like to see what the access for those lines is.
All right.
Maybe they wouldn't go anywhere, but how do you get to them? That's all.
I think I can add this real quick. So I understand your concern is that.
Can you hear better? I understand your concern. So what a lot of this stuff we can't answer. So your concern is you want more access, or make sure the access is guaranteed, that you can drive in or figure out a way to get access to the duck lines, correct?
Correct.
Now, he's not a designer. Well, he is the designer, but he can't design on the fly right now. So please, some of this stuff he's not able to answer, but we can figure out solutions if we get your concerns. So please bring your concerns forward, and we'll do our best to get the answers. Thanks.
So it's,
In other words, we don't have the time or the resources, the ability to answer every single question that comes up. This is a time for you to give comment. Thank you.
Supervisor? Yes. Phil?
Mark, good evening, and Mike Thomas, good evening also, Supervisor McMurray and the Grand Island community. My name is Philip Haberstroh. I'm a resident of Kenmore, New York. I have very fond memories of visits to Grand Island for both Buckhorn and Beaver Island State Park. In my professional life, I serve as executive director of the nonprofit Wellness Institute of Greater Buffalo. And I would just like to comment tonight that quality of life is the community currency of the future. And Grand Island has an opportunity tonight to add to its quality of life. The benefits that will accrue to your community from this are not only the health benefits that were alluded to earlier, there are economic benefits, there are social benefits, and there are environmental benefits. That's a complete package right down the line for you. And so I would ask the Grand Island community to view this from a win-win situation. It's a winning opportunity for all the residents of your community to add to your health and well-being, and it's also an opportunity for you collectively as a community to be recognized for your efforts to improve the quality of life. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gardner. I can't read my handwriting, but a parking lot's going to be installed or established right in front of my home. Now, yes, a bike path might improve the value of my home, but a parking lot isn't. And there's no way of controlling who's going in and out of there. I have yet to see anyone, well, maybe twice in my life, living there 40 years, have I seen anyone pull a car up onto West River and unload a bike. We usually go at the beginning of the bike path or the end of the bike path, starting at either Buckhorn or Beaver Island, maybe even 6 Mile Creek. Why is there a parking lot at every single intersection along the way? I mean, they're doing it for the exercise. They don't want to park somewhere, ride a mile, and then come back. It's not saying that.
If we can keep the applause down. We don't want to cut into your 2 minutes.
No, I don't. We moved here because of the college setting that we paid yearly for in Kansas. Now we're going to strangers parking, blocking my view, and that I just want to state I'm very unhappy about. There's just too many parking lots. And my preference was to put the bike path between the river and West River. And it wouldn't really be that hard for the money that we have to move the road around 6 Mile Creek out a little bit, so you could use the bridge that was there, and maybe shore up areas that were narrower. It still makes more sense to have the bike path. You can bring in traffic now, and it's going 56 miles an hour down the access road as it is. We get all the traffic that's coming in from going on to Staley Road to the labs. It's continual, and it's just gonna increase more on the access road, which is 30 miles an hour. I can't see how that's gonna happen. The only other thing I wanted to say is, I guess that's it. Thank you very much.
Hi, Kathy Stephan, West River Road. My concern for many years has been how fast traffic is on the West River Road. And the people who walk, bike, skate, rollerblade, push strollers. We have an older woman who's on West River Road who uses a walker. All of these things are a big concern, and if more of these people were able to go over to the parkway and actually use that, it would allow for more safety of pedestrians. And that's my concern. It has been for as long as I've been here. So I'm very much in favor of moving the bike path to the parkway and opening that up, and then the bikers will have free access also. So I think this plan number 3 is wonderful.
Hi, Chris Taylor, 4025 West River Road. I came today, my wife and I, in support, in complete support of this. I thought it was a really wonderful thing, and it would allow everybody to enjoy West River. But my rapid change in viewpoint is what I caution everybody here, because there's just things we don't think about. My wife and I never thought we'd come here today and find out that in front of the house that we worked so hard to purchase and love so much, that there is now a proposed parking lot, as Lynn said before. It changes everything, and I know that might not be everybody's houses, and it just might be 6 different homes on the West River, but that house we bought 3 years ago, and it was the one we're going to spend the rest of our life in, and now there's a parking lot in front of it. So I just caution everybody who, I've talked to a lot of people who are here very much in support of it, and I totally understand that, but think about it if you were in our shoes and you found out that a parking lot will now be your front yard. That's tough. I can answer the woman's question behind her that spoke in front of me, why so many parking lots? Well, it's because we're trying to also make everybody happy. I'm an avid duck hunter as well. If I didn't have those parking spots, I can't get to the 30-some-odd duck lines on West River. So it's a really difficult road, and it's going to be one that I just hope that we take the time to navigate properly and figure out something. I'm all for it. I want it to happen, but you know, if a parking lot goes in front of one person's house, how do you explain it to that one person? The parking lot in front of my house is very easy to eliminate, but there's one 300 yards up the road from it. I bet if I raise enough of a fit, that parking lot will go away. But somebody's going to get a parking lot in front of their house at the end of this, and I just don't think that would be right.
Hi, Mark D'Angelo, East River Road. A couple very interesting things in the initial presentation. I found we're a growing community. That road is much more utilized than I thought it was. It's a third the traffic of the boulevard. We don't have an abundance of roads in Grand Island. To eliminate a road because it's supported by the town of Grand Island. Here's the town of Grand Island. Nobody asked me if I wanted it. We're here now, but somebody wanted it. Here's the town of Grand Island. Number 2, for another $1 million, you can keep the road and build a path. Sounds like a no-brainer to me. I have 5 bicycles. I'm not a man of bicycles, but why don't you close it down one Sunday a month and see how many people come and ride up and down West River Park? Thank you.
Hi, Ray Golica, I'm a councilman, and I'm here to address one of the slides that was presented. I was on the town board when the state came to the town and proposed this, and we, the town board at that time, voted to support the state with a bike path that was a multi-use trail, that was going to go between the parkway and the river. There was a slide sure if that means the town of Grand Island as the government of the town of Grand Island, or the town of Grand Island as the people of the town of Grand Island. As far as my recollection is, the town of Grand Island as the government has not had any conversation nor a vote on supporting this current plan. I just wanted the public to be aware of that.
I'm Greg Stevens. I'm chairman of the Niagara River Greenway Commission, and I wanted to offer a comment from the perspective, from a regional perspective, of what this option 3 could mean for the community at large and Grand Island specifically. The original proposal put a bike path along the West River came to the Greenway Commission, and we voted it highly consistent with the objectives of the Greenway Commission. We want to provide continuity for pedestrians and bikers and tourists, anybody who wants to access the waterfront by public trails. This is our objective, to create a very attractive and vibrant trail system from Lake Erie to Lake Ontario, and obviously Grand Island is a jewel in the middle of that whole process. So when in your previous reviews, when this idea came forward that, well, the trail would be okay, but the possibility of option 3 has so much more potential to create something really terrific, we were delighted to see that come forward. And what I want to offer to you from the perspective of the Greenway Commission, we have 42 more years of shoreline development funded through the relicensing process. The Greenway Commission is in charge of laying out a plan to develop what this waterfront will look like to best reflect the needs and desires of our citizens and the people who want to use that waterfront. If you decide collectively to make this option 3 available, there's a lot that can happen here. There's a lot of very exciting things that can happen on the waterfront. And so I would just encourage you to think about the full potential of the future. This evolving into something that you'd be proud to hand down to your grandchildren, to have them be able to enjoy that west side of Grand Island. That's what we'd like to see.
Hi, my name is Valerie Funk. I'm a 60-year-plus resident of Grand Island, most of which have been on West River. I have seen many changes in those years, and not all for good, of course. I don't believe that a bike trail would bring that many people to Grand Island, at least closing down the parkway. A bike trail I am not opposed to, but I am opposed to closing down the West River Parkway. When you say that over 1,300 cars a day use the parkway, how many bikes are actually going to use that parkway every day? Where are the statistics that show that more than a dozen people are going to use that bike trail every day? I mean, I question the number of people that it will actually bring in, and what is the point of closing down a perfectly good road when, you know, cars are using it? I would like to suggest an option 4, which I think makes more sense, would be to widen the shoulder on West River Road, 30-mile-an-hour road, which is already a designated bike trail, as you can see by the signage down the road. And I think if you widen that road, or that shoulder, make a nice bike trail there, and improve the parking areas at each of the overlooks, maybe put in some benches, some picnic tables, some trash cans. Plenty of people use the West River already. We have scuba divers, we have horseback riders, we have snowmobilers, snowshoers, cross-country skiers, people that just like to walk along the river. Hundreds of people use the parkway as it is. I don't think closing down the parkway is going to bring more people in. I think you could widen the shoulder on the West River Service Road, and that would, it's already a good bike trail, but you could make it better.
My name is Mike McDonough. I am also a West River resident. I have tentatively approved this plan. My approval, though, hinges on who is going to be in charge of the land. If it stays with the DOT, I'm against it. They've been poor stewards of the land, and I don't trust them any further than I could throw. If it were to be taken over by the New York State Parks Department, I would have a much brighter look upon this project. I would be for it. That's number one. Number two, I have not seen any proposals, as Ms. Funk brought up, where the bike path is along the West River Road, where the shoulder would be widened, and I don't know why that was never considered. It seems to me to be a very inexpensive and practical way of getting this done. Lastly, whatever happens, these yellow dot parking lots, I would be very much against. I don't think we need them. The overlooks can be enhanced. They could even be expanded for that much, for that matter, and would provide more than adequate parking. And putting parking lots here at every road intersection does put a parking lot in front of somebody's home, and I am not for that at all.
I'm Mike Maloney, a Grand Island resident, and I applaud New York State and Grand Island for considering a bike path along the West River Parkway that would connect the bicycle path in Buffalo to Niagara Falls. Nearly 25 years ago, I came very close to losing my life while riding a bicycle on the back roads in Ontario, when I was hit by a drunken driver traveling at 60 miles an hour. By the grace of God and the fine medical team at ECMC, my life was saved, and luckily I was wearing this helmet. Back then, they did not have a bike path up there. On this side of the border, bicycling has taken the nation by storm, and bike towns with wonderful bike paths and designated lanes on the highways are being created. Mayor Byron Brown in Buffalo has made bicycling a priority, and the city has created more bike-friendly lanes on the roads, and it has improved its bike paths. Tonight, Grand Island has the opportunity to join many communities across the country that have become bike-friendly by approving this bike path and allowing the state to create what will be a beautiful path along the mighty Niagara River, as cyclists can now go from Buffalo, the waterfront, to Niagara Falls, or just ride a long, wonderful ride around the island. Grand Island can then promote itself as a bike town, along with promoting with the state the two wonderful parks we have here in Beaver Island and Buckhorn, and all the recreational activities available here. With a strong campaign, we can fill the beds in our hotels, motels, and KOAs for guests to visit with bikes, kayaks, and walking shoes. New York State, I vote for option 3, a bike path along the West River Parkway, and while you're at it, take down those tolls.
Hi, my name is Deborah Brennan. As a resident of Loughborough for 34 years, I've never seen 3,000 cars go down that road in one day. Never. As a member of now West River, that parkway serves a great purpose for all the plants that work on Staley and that. There's an awful lot of cars, so you want to close that road, bring that traffic onto a 30-mile-an-hour road. It's just a crazy idea. It's already got a lot of traffic going on usually. As for bikers, I don't see that many bikers out on the road going out and down those paths that are already there. I am a bike rider. I've done fine over the years riding a bike on Grand Island, going up and down the roads of Loughborough, Alt Road, West River, Baseline, even on parts of the Wood Parkway that up by Sidney School and that. I've never had a problem riding my bike there. So why would you close a perfectly good road, West River, to try to make more people. Who are these people that are gonna be coming here to ride their bikes? And what about Montana?
Hi, my name is Luann, and I live on the West River. I am supportive of a recreational trail being implemented on the West River, but vehemently against grading the area of the West River Parkway. Before we decide on a path, there are multiple concerns that have been raised in speaking to other residents in the area regarding this closure. First and foremost, safety and viability is a major concern. If this world-class path and other enhancements are to be installed, the idea is to increase the volume of people that come to use the path. Well, with this increase in population for the path and various other enhancements, the effect will undoubtedly be an increase in traffic, if the purpose plan is to be as successful as intended. The current setup has the parkway side for seasonal and weather-dependent use and the town road for local use. Some people have mentioned the point that East River only has one road and they are fine. Well, this is true of East River, but with few public access points on the East River, as it is mostly privately owned property on the riverfront. This makes their current one-road system somewhat viable. The West River is a different animal. It allows people to travel between Niagara Falls and Buffalo in a seamless way, while still allowing for time for recreation, contemplation, and relaxation, as it allows for easy access into Buckhorn, Big Six, or Beaver Island. Or perhaps even enjoy one of the multiple overlook areas currently designed. If we are looking to increase the usage of the area vis-a-vis a bike path, then the dismissal of the current parkway system seems somewhat hasty in nature. The 30-mile-per-hour town access road that runs for 8+ miles services not only the 250+ West River homes with multiple cars each, but also the very large businesses that are located on Staley, Whitehaven, Bedell, and Love. Shutting down the parkways and making the 30-mile-per-hour town road the main thoroughfare will not only increase its usage, whether seasonally or all year long as proposed, but will most definitely affect the quality of the road, into which the taxpayers will foot the bill. It will affect the drive times along the road, the quality of the residents and school buses access, but will also affect access by emergency vehicles and could result in a major tragedy. Although it has been mentioned in recent years that the Robert Moses Parkway was a mistake, this portion of the system seems to not only function well, but with the addition of scenic areas, boat kayak launches, and a possible bike path keeping the parkway open becomes even more essential to making this successful project that will not only have success in the short term, but will enhance the locally, historically, and environmentally significant area for years to come. My other concerns are based on zoning, septic system ordinances, protected views, flooding concerns, maintenance, environmental review processes, and an actual, factual, and current transportation study that can take into account the effects of removing the road altogether. What impact will that have when the current parkway system is demolished and replaced with a path, and the main thoroughfare for all these improvements becomes a 30-mile-per-hour, 8-mile stretch of residential road? With close to more than 500,000 visitors to Buckhorn, Big Six, and Beaver Island, not including other seasonal visitors that we are trying to woo with this improvement, the impact is not hard to envision. There must be a better option for installation and improvements with this grant money than closing a major and scenic parkway. Please preserve the parkway. Thank you.
I'm Sandy Engler. I, as well as the rest of my family, use the stretch along the West River by bike and by car daily. And an individual that was a few people ahead of me, and I believe he was from the Greenway Commission, I apologize if he wasn't, but spoke of the island and this stretch of land as a jewel. And it is. And it is a jewel as it is. It provides excellent access for cyclists. The parkway provides excellent scenic access for motorists. The benefits of this project, which I see no valid data to explain how these are benefits, but I don't see anything different here than we already have. Closing a critical gap in the Niagara River Greenway Trail to connect Buffalo to Niagara Falls. There is no gap. West River Road is probably one of the best roadways for cycling in Western New York, as it exists, marked as a bike trail. All of these other benefits, anything else that's been publicized, bike tours, etc., they can be doing that with the situation as it is. The biking along West River Road, the 30-mile-an-hour road, is never congested, is never busy. Maybe 1 or 2 cars will pass you riding the entire strip of the West River, while the faster-moving cars, express traffic per se, is going along the parkway. Recreational cyclists like myself, serious cyclists like the rest of my family, who go a lot faster, walkers, dog walkers, people with strollers, can all be accommodated on that West River Road. The proposal that Val Funk brought forward regarding widening West River Road would be reasonable. It would increase the area a little bit if this is money that we've been told we have to spend, or we'll never see any money from the state again, and that's the response I've received from the government, or from the supervisor. Personally, I think there's other places this money can be spent, but I'm not clear about how it can be spent. The bike paths in Beaver Island are unusable. That would be another opportunity. Just one more thing about the parkway, I would like to reiterate what the last speaker said as well. And I don't know why we're obsessing over it's Moses or Olmsted. It's beautiful. It is a scenic parkway. And anyone who travels from Niagara Falls to Grand Island or in the opposite direction, it's a very relaxing route where we can enjoy nature. The point was brought forward earlier that we need to reclaim our waterfront. There's nothing to reclaim. We have it, and we are very fortunate.
These are great comments and appreciate it. The last couple speakers did go over 2 minutes by quite a bit, so there's still a good number of people in line, and to be respectful of their time, I'll try to keep it to 2 minutes, okay? So if I go like this a little bit, it's just try to wrap it up. That's all. No play. Thank you. Sir.
My name is Michael Donlak. I'm a resident of Grand Island and a biker. And I have traversed the island many times. And it's a beautiful trip, whether you start off at the hotel at the bottom and drive around the whole area. It's a terrific exercise. It's got everything you want. There are so many bike paths in Western New York, and I've been on all of them. And I can honestly tell you that there are too many, actually. But what bothers me the most is the fact that I did not hear an assessment or a census taken of how many people are on that road biking. Whenever I bike West River Parkway, I rarely run into anyone. And I drive all the time. So my question is, there's a lot of beautiful things to be seen while traversing the island. Why bother with this project to put you along the river when you can go along the river anywhere you want to go, Niagara Falls, etc. The Tonawanda trip that'll take you to Buffalo. I think that this whole project is unnecessary. I think the whole project is unnecessary. And I think there should have been more thought and more census taken to find out how many people are going to benefit from this. Are you trying to say if we build it, they will come? I don't know, they're not here. I never see a lot of people on biking. I don't know how many bikers are in this audience. Wow, that's more than I've seen on the highway. But anyway, thank you.
My name is Jay Hardy. My wife and I live on West River between Long and Adele. We've been there 36 years. We are opposed to closing the parkway. That number that you had of 1,300 cars per day was taken right in front of our house. We do not want that number coming over to the service road. except the residents, are going more than the 30 miles an hour on the service road, and I wouldn't be surprised that within a year or less, there is a proposal by someone to put that speed limit up, and we do not want that speed limit over 30 miles an hour. Thank you.
Yes, sir. My name is Patrick McClure. I'm here to voice my support for the proposed repurposing of the West River Parkway to an all-season, non-motorized public recreation corridor. Public use of this area would include bicycling, walking, jogging, snowshoeing, and cross-country skiing. Public waterfront access in the Buffalo, Niagara region has been getting much attention lately, and for good reason. It is limited. Here on Grand Island, there exists a wonderful ribbon of public land along the west channel of the Niagara River already in place, but difficult to enjoy. Improving access for the people of the state to their land is appropriate. Connecting two parks via this path is a rare and outstanding opportunity. It advances the Niagara River Greenway Plan, which strives for a system of linear parks and conservation areas connected by a multi-use trail system. Furthermore, this plan does not disrupt the present uses of this public land, nor create a significant impact on vehicular traffic patterns. I believe this path is a wise move for Grand Island. I have seen the benefits of this type of public access in cities such as London, England, Naperville, Illinois, and with city-to-city bike paths from Boulder to Denver, Colorado. Families stroll, runners run, and bikes quietly glide by. It is a part of what makes these cities desirable places to live and visit. Access to unique and beautiful natural areas brings a vibrancy to a place or a region, not overnight and perhaps not by itself, but it is a piece of a larger puzzle that can uplift an area and whole communities. The cities I've mentioned are all doing well economically. They have realized what citizens and travelers desire, and they are providing it. Now that these trails, bike paths, and river walks are in place, those cities would never dream of doing away with them. Funding for the project is allocated, the plan is sound. Please move forward with this proposal to convert West River Road to a linear park and recreation trail. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
My name is Corwin. I live on West River Road, and I'll be brief. People more intelligent than myself have said that the more the plans fail, the more the planners plan. How about this? Instead of wasting our money on this, reduce our taxes. To live on West River Road. I'm a former Marine, and by nature, I don't trust anyone. I do not want strangers milling around my house. And that's what's gonna happen.
Hi, my name is Alex Sanborn. I apologize for talking really loudly. Good morning. I grew up on Grand Island on West River. My parents have lived there for 40 some odd years. And I would like to question certain proposals or benefits of this project, as a matter of fact. It says that it would provide links, would link neighborhoods to the Niagara River and enhance public access. There's nothing stopping the public from accessing it now. In fact, unless you're going to clear-cut large sections right by the river, then there's going to be no increase. I mean, you have the two overlooks, and then there's a lot of trees and brush, and frankly, poison ivy. As we know that. So unless you're going to clear-cut large sections by the river, you're not going to increase public access unless that already exists. You can go down to Whitehaven, particularly the Whitehaven one, any work day, you see all the people going there for lunch from the factories on Staley. Providing safe and scenic alternative routes. Yes, it would for those, but as people have already mentioned, it would make the surface road really unsafe. I mean, shoving 1,700 extra cars on a road that's only supposed to be 30 miles an hour. And let's be honest, we've all been late to work at points, and you're not driving 30 miles an hour when you're late to work. There are families. I grew up there and ran onto that road. I can't tell you how many times, perhaps stupidly and perhaps unsafely, but I did it, and I lived because not many people use it. I think that's an important point. So you're increasing safety of bikers, who would be very, very few, at the risk of immensely more car accidents and perhaps people getting hit by that. Not to mention that everybody who lives there in general backs out of their driveways into what would be an increase of 1,700 cars a day. A gentleman had mentioned that Buffalo had increased their biking trails, and before me mentioned London, Naperville, and Boulder as examples of places that increased their biking trails and saw a lot of bikers, which I think is a lovely idea. However, those cities all have hundreds of thousands more people than Grand Island does. The town is still only 20,000, and I can't imagine that you would see a corresponding increase as you would see from London, which is several million, or Buffalo, which is several 100,000. That doesn't make any sense to me. We'll wrap it up. Thank you. And they keep, some people keep mentioning economic benefits, and I don't understand the economic benefit. What people are just going to come here and ride and go back home. None of these places are anywhere close to the businesses on Grand Island, so it's not like they're going to patronize those. So I don't exactly understand the economic benefits. Mrs. Funk had a wonderful idea to increase the shoulder of the service road. Why not do that? You know, with all those cars traversing it every day, I'm no expert in democracy, and I understand that there are mechanisms to protect the minority against the majority, but this sounds like you're literally inconveniencing thousands of people for the benefit of tens. You have 3 parking lots with 10 spots each. You're inconveniencing way more people, so this actually sounds like the minority tyrannizing the majority. Thank you.
The main reason was for the waterfront view, as well as the peace and seclusion and the limited traffic. However, now with the parkway, the bike path being built or extended, I feel like I'm gonna live my life in a fishbowl. I really don't appreciate that. It's gonna be excess traffic. And in spite of the parking that you're gonna have designated for people, I can guarantee you they will park in front of our homes because it'll be easier to access what they want to get to instead of going out. I'm also concerned about, I don't know, should I get closer? I'm sorry. I'm concerned about my property value. I tried to research it, but I couldn't find any conclusive information in terms of how a bike path will affect my property value, my resale value, and also my taxes. I'm really concerned about that. Do the residents of West River get any kind of tax break for having this excess traffic? And in my mind, inconvenience to my life, because I really don't appreciate it being there. I know a lot of people do want it there. But would you want this in front of your house? Because this is in front of my house. And I really just don't want it, but that's just my opinion. Had I known that they were going to do this when I bought my house, I never would have bought my house in West River. I would have chosen
that. Good evening, Sandra Nelson, 3793 West River. My parents owned our property before that parkway was taken away by eminent domain in 1951.
Please hold the applause so the speakers can speak and appreciate it. Thank you.
No one else has ever lived in our home. They took that parkway away to no avail, basically, because as you said, it really never turned into the spectacular route that they had intended. But we've lived with it. We've maintained the property. We cut the grass because it's not done as it was promised to us when it was taken from us. I'm a single lady, and I take care of my property, so we have a beautiful neighborhood. My concerns are, number 1, I posted on a Facebook posting to Mr. McMurray that I wanted a road count done of the parkway and of the service road of Grand Island. He told me it had been done and I wouldn't like the results. I want to tell you this evening that I called the Department of Transportation today and I spoke with Thomas Messini, who is on Seneca Street in Buffalo, New York. I also spoke with his assistant, Mr. Angelo Borghese. There has never been a traffic count done on the Parkway or River Road. Transportation, no information on that. There was a speed traffic done, and I asked him for that information, which he's forwarded to me. There's a 30-mile-an-hour limit on West River Road. No one obeys it. Not even my neighbors. Disgusting. Someone's going to get hurt. I sat there on a daily basis almost for the last 2 years because I was out of work with an injury. I can't begin to tell you the amount of cars that go by our home. That's a bunch of baloney that there's only 1,300. For every one on West River Road, there's at least 10 on that parkway. There's motorcyclists. People come with their cars after car shows to tour the island for everyone to enjoy. Take the road, widen it toward the parkway, not toward my home, as I only have 3 feet in front of my house to that road. Thank you to the original plans. And make that for the bicyclists. I have stopped them, I've talked to them. I said, would you bike close to the river? No? Why? Bugs, rodents? Unless you've lived on West River, you've never seen the river rats that live down by the water. You've never seen a bowl that appear if that property is not cut, that we've been cutting. I know, time. But you know what? Leave it alone. Make it for the bikers that are going to enjoy it. There's not that many of them. I can tell you I see maybe 2 groups once a week. Take that money and spend it where it needs to be. Leave that road out there.
Hi, my name is Mackenzie Hassan. I live on the island, not on West River, and I want to represent some of the younger families on the island. I have a 20-month-old and an 8-year-old who has special needs and who just recently is learning how to ride a bike independently. So I can't take him on the side of the road, and I think that we need to take that into concern. In fact, I didn't even know that that was an option, and I wouldn't even walk my baby stroller on the side of West River Road or Grand Island Boulevard or any road on the island, because like the man said before, accidents happen. Some of you are saying that, well, you could do that, but then this one right here before said that everybody's speeding. So that's kind of counterintuitive. So I took down some notes as people were talking. We said it's relaxing driving there, but you're going 55 plus miles per hour, so I don't know how that could be relaxing while you're driving. Why couldn't we use it as a bike path if it's so relaxing? Definitely it's just unsafe for children. The excess traffic that you're concerned about, wouldn't that just then go into one road? I don't understand that. My family grew up on East River. We were fine with it. This to me, there's obvious concerns. There's maintenance. I get that. I agree that there's too many parking lots. I just think that we live on this beautiful island. It's for everybody to share and enjoy. We need somewhere for families to go and to learn and to share. So I'm sorry that everybody is so vehemently against this, but we're here today to share concerns and comments, not to divide. Thanks for listening.
My name is Raymond Ducharino, and I'm actually a property owner on both sides of the Parkway in West River. I'm on West Oakfield and Bush, where it runs into West River. First, I'd like to commend our supervisor for, has nothing to do with this, but for cleaning up our $3.3 million round circle that looked like hell. And cleaning it up. It might not be beautiful, but it's a lot nicer than it was before. That was one of my pet peeves. And the other thing I'd like to commend him on is I was not for the original bike path plan, and not for this one, but at least he came up with an alternative. So that was like many other people suggested, my idea all along would have been to just widen the existing shoulder on West River Road. There are very few bikers that use it. I'm sure there's more cars that are going to use the Parkway than there will be bikers. I don't know if, and I'm totally against also, it just seems like our country and our state is even worse, that we always feel like we have to spend the money. I mean, if we didn't have to spend the money, if we could use it for another project or something. But if we can't, then let's do it like that, and let's do it, along West River Road. And I'm definitely against parking lots in front of our homes as anybody here would want an additional parking lot in front of their home. Maybe some of the money that could be saved, or in the future if we have more money, I don't know if this money can be used for a project in the Beaver Island Marina. We have many bikers here, we probably have just as many boaters on Grand Island. The Beaver Island Marina, I had, halfway through the summer, I can't bring my boat in there without overheating because of all the weeds. They have machines that cultivate that. The bathroom facilities there, I wouldn't use them, I wouldn't spend the night there because you can't shower. Maybe in the future we could use some of that money for that. Just thankful for hearing me out. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Hi, my name is Mary Ann Scalia. I'm a West River resident, 2731 by the Whitehaven Overlook. My concerns are identical to what my neighbors have been expressing online, so I'm not going to reiterate them. I do have a direct question to our designers about the screen display that we've seen tonight. Is that available on your website? Can I go home and look at it again tonight? Or can you post a link for the presentation?
Yes, I believe we'll put that on the website. Yes.
And also the photographs that were on the stage, can you make that available to us so that when I go home and I formulate my response to you, I can look at that again and maybe share that with some of my neighbors who were unable. These plans here,
yes.
for my neighbors who could not come tonight. That's the only question I wanted to ask, and thank you.
We will make arrangements for the information to be available. That is a huge file. We'll have to do something a little different to get that out there. We'll work on that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dave Brown. I'm from Springville, New York, and I do a lot of duck hunting up here. And my concern is with duck hunting.
I just wanted to, Dave, I'm sorry, I just wanted to get this out there. He's going to put it out on the site tonight, or maybe tomorrow morning, depending on when we get out of here. But I just wanted to put that out.
But I'm very understanding because I like bike paths. I take my daughter, we go cycling. The concern is with the parking lots and the regulations with the duck hunting, the distance you have to walk, the care you have to, you're required to bring a boat down to the water. Those are some pretty long carries. With the diver duck decoy hunting is a lot of inputs, a lot of equipment. The further you get these guys away, the harder it's going to be. If that road is not accessible for cars and something happens to somebody hunting or boating down there, what about emergency vehicles getting there quickly? You're limiting them. So you have to consider that. And it's, you know, I love the changes in this. I looked at the steel plant that's here right now. I love the changes they've done. So I'm not opposed to this. What I'm opposed to is getting rid of all tradition. I've been hunting on that river for 30 years. I'd hate to see it end for a few cyclists.
Hi, my name is Liz Lutnick. I live on West Oakfield. I just want to say, first of all, I really appreciate the fact that we can be here and that we can express our concerns, because I was at the original Greenway meeting when it was approved, saying it fit the bill or whatever. I didn't like the first bike path at all, so I'm really glad that we're here with a different option. But this option, I think, it's not a horrible option, but I think we could do better, and I think we could if we widen the already existing bike trail. I know it's going to cost a little more money because we're going to have to move some lines and maybe add a little shoulder infrastructure. But I think that it's not so much that I necessarily desperately want to keep the parkway open, but I think for the duck hunting and the bathroom or the parking lot situation, I don't think we're going to overcome that at all, because for one, for safety for the duck hunters. And I'm not a duck hunter, but I know I talked to the duck hunters, and I went around with bulletin and pamphlets to inform a lot of people before this meeting. And I just think that having duck hunting anywhere is a really cool thing. And I even though it's kind of noisy and it wakes me up in the mornings, I'm just glad that those guys can get out there and they still have the freedom to do that. And I think that's a really cool thing. You drag all this stuff down to the river, and it's heavy. You're down there, they're freezing their butts off, it's heavy. I think if we can't do the parking lots in front of the homes, that's not fair to the homeowners, it's not necessary. We have to have access for the duck hunters, the bicyclers. There is a few not as many, you know, as drivers and duck hunters and all those other people are, put the bicyclists in minority. And the bikers are doing fine the way they are. So if we just enhanced it, made it more safe for them, and widening the West River Road, I think that it would be a great win-win situation. We could get the bike trail that you guys are proposing and make it a better community thing without ruining our community. Because we moved here because it was quiet and pretty. We don't want to lose that ourselves. We understand it, we want to share that with us, and I really appreciate the way that you connected the Spalding Trail and the Beaver Island Trail all the way down there to hook it up to West River. That's a great thing because it keeps people in the woods, keeps people off that, you know, the non-seasonal parkway, that's really sketchy to ride your bike on that one piece. So I think that that's a great idea. And if for say you had to, if you wanted to keep traffic off, I mean, say we have to do this, which I don't think we have to, but if you had to keep traffic off, the West River Parkway gets, or the West River Inner Loop gets tons of traffic because the Staley businesses, you would have to do something like local traffic only, so that those people would have to go on the expressway and then come down Staley, if you had to do that. That's all.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm Nancy Killian. My family has lived on Grand Island for 115 years. I have grown up on West River. I plan to build again on West River. I feel that doing what you are proposing, getting rid of the parkway, is going to drive traffic that's used to using the parkway at 55 miles an hour onto the West River Road, where people will continue to drive 55 miles an hour out of habit on a road that is signed at a speed limit of 30 miles per hour. That's endangering the safety of West River Road residents and other Grand Island residents. This, along with short-term rentals along West River, are making it even more enticing for illegal immigrants to come across the river and find some place to stay and just simply enter the country illegally. And I wonder how this can be a true connector between Buffalo and Niagara Falls for alternative traffic if the Grand Island Bridge sidewalks are illegally closed to pedestrian and bicycle traffic outside of the summer months. There are residents along West River who have dock permits, and now by increasing access to the parkway, you're increasing awareness of the existence of those docks and boats, which could invite a rise in theft and vandalism to those residents' personal property. Some of the people along West River have already endured the pain of having their property taken away from them through eminent domain. And now you want to further erode those individuals' enjoyment of their own personal property. I think it's outrageous.
My name is Leslie. I live on East River Road. I've been an Islander like forever. That's a long time. I actually work on Staley Road. I work at one of the 3 big factories over there, labs. And I spoke with some folks at work the last couple of days that live in Niagara Falls. Hey, did you know that this may happen? What road do you take to get to work if you live in Niagara Falls? Every one of them said the service road. So to me, that seems that it would increase traffic in an area closer to homes where kids are, dogs, things like that. So that to me is a concern. That's one reason why I'm not in favor of this. Secondly, your slide with regards to the TAP grant, the #1 reason was to have a connection between Buffalo and Niagara Falls. This is a question I think you can answer. Did I miss something? How do you get to Buffalo in between Buckhorn and Beaver? Are you planning on closing the Beaver Island Parkway? Is that like sneaking up on us next? Can you answer that?
Yeah, can't answer questions.
There are connections.
Okay. Well, if there are, I think there's probably still connections right now.
Correct.
To go from Niagara Falls to Buffalo. So that's one of my comments. I'll continue with my tip or the slide presentation. The third point was improved air quality. Are those cars going to disappear? Or are those cars going to go to another road somewhere on the island? And, well, I really don't think there's an issue, but if you think there's an issue with air quality with our cars, is there going to be air quality concerns on other roads where these other cars are going to go to now? So that renders that point moot. I've been speaking with a person that does do high-speed biking. They go right down my road on East River Road. They stated that they would not be using bike paths because bike paths aren't typically cleared and cleaned of stones and gravel and things like that. High-speed bikers generally drive on the roads because the cars, through going fast and moving air, move the rocks and stuff off the road. So one of the comments that you can put down on that white sheet is, make sure that if you do it, there's some way to keep the bike path clean for these high-speed bikers, or else they're going to be now on the service road. So this is a concern that needs to be addressed. Maybe you should speak to some high-speed bikers. Maybe you need to speak to some folks that work at the factory labs over there on Staley Road. And the last point that I have, Valerie Funk talked about the number of cars and bikes. What about the number of people in the cars? Because as we get to become a more older generation, I like driving on West River Road. It's a nice Sunday drive, taking a look at things. If I'm not out there biking, I lose that. And I think a lot of our other senior citizens may lose that as well. So you can put me down as a no.
We did get an extension till 9 o'clock, and we want to make sure we get everyone's comments in. So again, we'll be keeping the comments to 2 minutes. This is great, getting a lot of feedback, and still a number of people online.
I'm Dr. Lutnick, thanks. I'm going to get you with that. You know, I started as an idea from my point of view. I was at the first meeting, and I understand that it's a great idea. Let's make a bike path that is safe for the bikers and walkers and people. Now, how do you put that into practical means? The first proposal was to make a third, completely separate piece of asphalt that blocks the people on the West River's view from the river and their access to their docks. And now we have to put in guardrails and all kinds of other safety measures because of what happened over on the Sajacquota now that they've got it at 30 miles an hour, and all kinds of extra guardrails. And then those were issues with, how do you maintain it, and that was understood that, maintenance is different than capital projects. And we now have the money, which a previous supervisor and an administration put into place. So we have an idea and we have money, but how do we put that into practical means? I have to say thank you very much to our current administration because I think they're listening to us. I think they've put us in a venue that we can all have our opinions thought of, and I appreciate that extremely. I think that the current proposal beats the heck out of the first proposal because it doesn't put a third line of asphalt and all that other stuff in the way, and it would block the hunters, the duck hunters. But at this proposal, the issue how the duck hunters currently, they used to just drive off that unused road in the winter that they would be responsible for driving across with their four-wheel vehicles. They would park on solidly frozen ground and drag their stuff off the roof. And it seemed to work. How are they going to get there now? That's a bit of a problem. The parking thing, I can understand why you put it there. It seems like a good idea, but if you own the property in front of it, I would not at all be happy with that. And I think it's a little bit ludicrous to put so many parking spaces. You're going to block it off, block it off. The last thing, though, is, again, Val's idea was not the first thought of this, and I have to go back to a little bit of history to let people know. They did think about, widening that river road, and there's a couple of issues with that, and one of them was that there's crossroads there, and people on bikes who would be using it would now be susceptible to getting hit by cars. That's increased, use and the crossing of people. They want something that's totally safe and totally secure and out of the way. I'm not sure how you put that together. All right, this proposal beats the first one, but it doesn't quite answer those other problems. But I got two things that, and one of them touched on, I have a neighbor, real quickly. This is things you need to talk about because currently the 55-mile-an-hour West River Parkway even is a little bit chattery for a car. It's not going to work for high-speed bike with the very thin tires. They won't use it. They told me they won't use it, and it is even difficult on a motorbike, in some places with some potholes and some other things. Is that going to be resurfaced? If you're going to use it, it would have to be resurfaced. If you're going to use it with rollerblades, you couldn't now, you'd have to resurface it. So there's money, and I don't know if that's planned. I mean, it's nice to say you're going to reuse it, but it has to be, surfaced, maintained, and cleaned. So that's one of the only other presentations I'm over on, but I want to let people know why they were why they weren't really thinking of it, but maybe it's something we ought to think about again, is widening that outside thing as a possibility. I'm not saying that's the end, but I don't know. The idea and the practicality put together is a little bit far apart.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Eric Nowakowski, a resident from Grand Island for 25 years. Spent 20 years on Long Road, which is one of the higher traffic streets in the area. The 1,300 people that are moving from Niagara Falls into Staley Road area, I can guarantee you that after a few weeks and some education with the companies, they are not all going to stay on the parkway, or excuse me, on the service road. They're going to go where they can drive it quicker, or we're going to get a lot of revenue from tickets. Next thing is most of those commutes and those times where those 1,300 drivers are there is the morning and the evening commutes. So there's a definite timeline that's happening. The other thing too is you know, I've heard a few East River residents talk as well. You know, someone talked about high-speed cyclists. I'm a high-speed cyclist. Me actually going for this actually will put more traffic on the service road, which is where I would ride. Probably not on the bike path, because most of the time that's reserved for 15 miles an hour or less. The issues with widening the road on the service road area is the fact that, truthfully, most motorists, I shouldn't say most, a lot of motorists don't know the rules of the road, and quite a few of them are disrespectful. Most people don't realize that there's a 3-foot rule to pass a cyclist, where if they do, they don't honor it, especially if another car is coming in another direction. Secondly, I've ridden in there enough to know I put in at least 1,000, probably closer to 2,000 miles on all of Grand Island's roads. People will park their cars for the residents that live there already. So there'd have to be a way, or tickets or whatever, to make sure that if that was the area that they did, that they wound up not parking there. A 10-foot bike path, if anyone has ridden on any of the 10-foot bike paths in this area, they're miserable. Unfortunately, the walkers take over and they're not good for the cyclists. A 24-foot bike path would be wonderful, okay? Also, think about this. The benefit, my family drives from this area down to Virginia, West Virginia, and all sorts of areas in between to do rails to trails. We put a lot of money over the last 20 years into those communities by visiting there and spending our money. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Michael Kaplan from Staley Road, and I'm completely in favor of this. I can see there's a few things that need to be worked on it. I do not agree with the fact that the people that work in the plants on Staley are going to use the service road, because when the parkway is closed from April 1st to November 1st, I can see the traffic increase in front of my house in the wintertime is massive. So I don't agree with that. I'm not so sure I agree with, after listening to the residents here on West River, about closing the parkway or building and extending the service road that's there for it. But I'm definitely in favor of opening up that whole entire area there that's so beautiful for all the islanders, everybody, not just somebody that's living there. So people in the middle of the island come over and they have a place to park. Right now, in the end of Staley, they park where the old restaurant is. We're all parked there because there's no place to park and walk around. Opening it up, trying to make the West River people happy in that. But I think too, if you shut that parkway down, like the other guy said, right now, put 40 miles an hour on it and measure the cars that come down Staley right now. There's going to have to be a bigger police force to enforce that speed limit there if they do it. We have a good opportunity here to work on this together and get something. In Tonawanda, they put in a bike path going down through North Tonawanda along the canal. Eminent domain. They put it where they wanted it. We know, I know, because we have a dock spot there in the house and the family and everything. Excuse me. They just put it there. Right now, we have a choice of picking out what we want to do. Let's try to make everybody happy and do something for all of us. And definitely, there's one thing, the people that are grandfathered in with the docks on the river now, that should stay that way. That should not be pulled away from them. And I see the West River people cutting the parkway all the time. It's not their job to cut that. That's state land. That
has to be I do see some people leaving or running late, but just to remind them, if they're leaving and they want to make a comment, please write it down or grab a sheet. You can email if you get a chance to speak. And we have a few more that we get in, because I would like to leave a little time for Mark Thomas to make some closing comments. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is CJ. I live on Westfield Field, and I was just actually informed that during those first planning sessions, the first informational meetings, that residents did bring up widening West River, the service road, and adding a bike lane. And wondering if you could, when you put these plans up tonight, kind of explain or surmise why that plan wasn't also approached for this presentation. And secondly, last summer, I was living in Cleveland, Ohio, which has some of the most vibrant cycling community in the country. And I was riding with a group of almost semi-professional cyclists, which there are many in Buffalo, who would come to Grand Island because it's almost a perfect 21-mile loop, and you can just loop around the island and get a good group going. Those cyclists are going upwards of 30 miles an hour. And we were actually, our group was banned from using the multi-use bike paths in the Cleveland Metro Park system because of the effects it had on walkers, families with dogs, strollers, people rollerblading. So I just want to comment that the people you're trying to bring in who would ride around the island 4 or 5 times, then go to Dick and Jenny's for brunch, or go to the Village Inn for dinner on Friday night after their after-work ride, they're not going to come to Grand Island and use that path, because it'd just be too dangerous for them and too dangerous for the other people using it.
Hi, my name is Leanne. I live on West River. And the bike path, I think, isn't necessary because there isn't that many bikers to begin with. And if they do, they go down the service road. And if you're going to get cars going on that service road, we've got kids out there playing, and I've had to stop a couple of times because kids' balls have rolled into the street, or they're too far out on the bike riding their bikes, and they're not going to be riding them on purpose because they're little kids and they got to stay close to their houses. I said, what happens when you got no cars and they're going to be going over the speed limit? Who's going to stop in time for these little kids? And what about our property, the value? Is that going to go down? Because you're going to put the bike path in and you're going to put roadblocks up? There's people that enjoy their parkway and visit their parkway without added parking lots, without any of that kind of stuff. You don't need it. We bought our property so we could enjoy it, and to be able to see what's over there, over the river. We don't need our property values going down because you're going to put some road in, bicycle road in.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tom Lehman. I live on 2361 West River Parkway. I believe one of the parking lots is planned to be directly in front of my house. And I bought my house and I built because it was a parkway in front of it, not a parking lot. I know we're trying to build something that people can use for recreation, people that come from other parts of the island, but you have to respect the people that live on West River. I'm also concerned about the additional traffic on Service Road and the fact that it's a 30-mile-an-hour road. I think we mentioned the other roads, Love Road, Staley Road, Grand Island Boulevard, but I believe the speed limit on all those roads is at least 45, and none of them are 30. So I think we should do that traffic study and make sure it's safe.
Thank you very much.
I'm John Smith. I live on East River Road. Been a Grand Island resident for 50 years or so. witnessed a lot of change. I've affected some change here. We have an incredible place here with tremendous resources. We have lost some of them due to poor decisions, quick decisions, political decisions. I believe the West River Parkway is a great thing, part of a system of parkways and parks that were designed by Robert Moses, who it's really amazing how people could criticize someone that got that much done, that much built in such a short time. Beautiful parkways, state parks, boat launches, Big Six, Buckhorn, all that is Robert Moses. The things that we're trying to preserve now are things he put here for us. The parkway is a link from Beaver Island to Buckhorn, over the river, along the falls, Goat Island, Joseph Davis Park, up into Youngstown, where Ford Park is up there. The Canadian side has the same thing. Everyone loves it. Winston Churchill said it was one of the finest Sunday drives in the world to drive the Canadian side. We have that. We're going to cut that out for what? A few bikes to ride down the street? That's kind of
30 seconds, sir.
Pardon me?
30 more seconds, great.
Well, I believe it's an important connector. I believe it feeds businesses, expensive homes, good real estate. I believe it's an alternate route. When the tolls stop the bridge, you get backed up for tolls on the bridge. You want to drive around and take that nice ride. It's a great ride. Fast spot for fire trucks, first responders to get in and out. I have a list very long of the positive things.
Please submit in writing. Appreciate you're over your limit, and I am going to watch the clock a little tighter now because we do have to be out of here at 9 sharp, everybody. So thank you, and we're going to keep moving as I'm looking at the number of people left. We're just going to get it out quiet. Yes.
Okay, real quick. My first name is Deanna. I am a Grand Island resident, not on either water side, but just as a comment from a real estate agent who works and lives on the island. I've been here since '86. I think that if the residents of West River can imagine, at least try to imagine, something more park-like, I have to believe that the town would not just pave a top-style parking lot with bright fluorescent lamps and no landscaper or anything like that. I have to imagine that it's going to be something a little bit more attractive and park-like, and trees and bushes, and it's only a half a dozen cars, so it's not that much, and they're not going to be there, I imagine, maybe I'm wrong, overnight, camping out, having bonfires and setting up tents and things like that. They're there for an hour or so, they're enjoying their time with their family, and then they're heading out. So, again, I'm not on West River, but I have to believe that the town wouldn't just slap up something that would be unattractive, that would ultimately allow you this ugly view of the otherwise best view that Grand Island has to offer is the Canadian side. There's no argument there. Everybody would much rather be on the West River side. And I sincerely don't believe that your property values are going to plummet. Do I hope your taxes do? Yes. But your property values are not going to plummet just because you only have one road instead of two. I have to ask, of the traffic studies, the people that work in the industrial parks on Staley Road, where do they go when the parkway is closed in the wintertime?
The parkway isn't closed.
Folks, please let her finish.
Let her finish. She asked a question.
It's my understanding that that West River Road is still in usage, but the parkway is not serviced during the wintertime.
Correct. But it's not closed.
However, how much traffic is really going down there during the summer? A lot.
I use it every
Okay,
day.
excuse me, I'm not going to debate this issue.
Okay, so we won't
If you can wrap up, please. Thank you.
But however, those employees have to find somewhere else to go if those roads are not paved. Is it understood that they do have to find somewhere else to go? Now, if they build it, will they come? How do you know that they wouldn't? The families aren't going there right now to ride their bikes or walk their dogs or rollerblade because there is nowhere for them to go. Okay, I'll put the rest of my comments in writing, but don't believe that your property values are gonna plummet just because there's a budget. What about mine?
Thank you. Just so everybody knows, he's gonna touch me, so he's not pushing me out of the way. Okay, 2 minutes. I'm a duck hunter. Thank you very much for saving that. The issue is I'm an old duck hunter, all right? So I'm not looking forward to dragging my stuff another 200 feet. It has to be, it has to be. Everybody wants a bike path. It's a good idea. Currently, it's a good idea with a board plan, so please continue to work on it. My question is, I don't know if it reflects the majority of the previous feedback you got. You know, you did due diligence, I understand that, but do you actually say we got 50 comments and 20 comments and try and satisfy the majority? That's the question I would have. I'm kind of frugal. When you scared me, when you mentioned part federal money and part local, I hope that local isn't Grand Island taxes. I hope that's the Greenway money. So that would be a question for me. I'm on the Conservation Board in Grand Island. I don't recall the meeting of a preview with the Conservation Board. It may have happened, but I don't recall that. Now, I haven't been on. I've only been on a year and a half, so it may have been before I was there. So I just don't recall that meeting. West River cars per day, they had the 1,300. West River Road, how many cars go on that? Because that'll be the new total, and I don't know what that is. And then, there was a lady hours ago said option 4.
Yes.
I like option 4. Thank you.
Hi, I just wanted to say, have you enjoyed the West River Review? Have you gone down there and just go along Grand Island?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so now you just say, you know, you're gonna go in there and rip apart everything and change everything around because a lot of people are gonna be there. But why wouldn't we just leave it a grand place that it is right now? All right, a simple lifestyle, simple way, instead of ripping it all apart and trying to bring all those other people here. I don't see it happening.
We have that comment. Thank you. Yes, you've been patient holding your line.
Yes, my name is Jason Giro, live on West River Road.
It's like he wants to say something.
Yeah, he wants to say something. Right? All right, we have all of our time. I don't really feel comfortable pushing the stroller, running down the road with the bike trailer, things like that. Bikes several times a week, but goes off the island to do it most of the time. I do agree that the parkway is a beautiful ride. Sometimes I do find myself getting distracted by looking at the water instead of the road. Well, I didn't like the first idea of having a path next to the road. I found it a terrible idea. I know that everybody is thinking that things are going to be inconvenienced and people's lives are going to be upset by things. I'm a relatively new resident in Grand Island, but the duck hunters are there, the snowmobilers are there, very early and very late at night. It's just one of the things that we accept because then we get to see the water, we get to enjoy our property. But a lot of people think that it's our property. It's not. Some people have docks, but most people will only have the view and get to enjoy actually any of the surroundings. But it's not ours. It's for everyone. I want to be able to have everyone enjoy it. Parkway's closed during the winter. Anyways, traffic goes other places. People are inconvenienced by things frequently. I don't like the idea of people having to have a parking lot in front of their house because I would be furious. Even though it's not our property, it's still a consideration for everyone in the community. I had something else, but I can't remember.
Please put it in writing. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. The people who are standing, we're going to take the rest of those comments, but please, anyone else who wants to speak that's not already standing in front of the mic, you'll have to put it in writing because I'm going to cut it off after these 6 gentlemen are speaking. Yes, sir.
I'm Tom Burke, 2285 West River Road. I came up here tonight
with the intention of wholeheartedly endorsing the alternative before us. That being said, though, I was unaware of the 7 proposed parking areas along the West River. I feel that's overkill. In addition to the overlooks that currently exist, I don't see the need for 7 parking areas. I'm a cyclist, and typically a 7-mile ride, you don't even break a sweat. So I really think that the number of parking areas is overkill. But generally, I think it's not a bad idea to close down the West River vehicular traffic. And I would also add, however, that I live to the south of Staley Road, just to the south of Staley Road, and I'm sensitive to my neighbors north of Staley who will be impacted by the vehicular traffic that departs from those factories on Staley Road. That can be a problem. That's no question about it. And there were many issues brought forth tonight that I really haven't contemplated fully. So I think that we need to go back to the drawing board. I'm generally in favor of the proposal, but I think it needs work. Thank you very much.
My name is John Pearl, and I don't live on the river, but I do live on the island. I am concerned with a couple of things. One is, I don't know who is responsible for maintaining the property right now. I assume it's the DOT. Will that be the case after, or will the parks take it over? Just a question I'd like to have answered in your next information packet. The other thing I'd like to know is there a proposal to change the speed limit on the road if the parkway goes away? The third thing, I would like to know if the parking lots and other things will close at dusk like the one that's there now does. And finally, as I understand it from the first meeting back in October, this money has been provided only if it goes along state land on the river. So the idea of looking at the map outside and completing the park or the bikeways that we have now. Right now, the majority of the bike paths, designated bike paths in this town are along Grand Island Boulevard and Whitehaven Road, over 50% of them. I wouldn't ride a bike on either one of those. We need to connect some of the things that are there. The section from Bedell Road up into Buckhorn is beautiful, connected to the power line right away and tie it in further down. Use what we've got and provide your pathway from Niagara Falls to Tonawanda, not Buffalo.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Sir?
Yeah, hi, Jerry, 1401 West River. I'll try to be brief. I grew up on West River. My family's been there for 60 plus years, and I own 2 properties on West River. I have a lot of concerns. One of them is for the parking that's going to be in front of it. And I don't see any necessity for this closing of the parkway anyways. I'm strongly opposed to it. And I think it's disrespectful and disruptive for the residents who moved there in the first place to have the way the rural setting that it is. And with plants there's several thousand employees on Staley Road. And I can tell you, I live around that area. And they got all different shifts all day and all night long. And there is a lot of traffic coming out of there. If anything, you'll have to move the plant. And the industrial area where they belong. They've grown too big there. I worked there when I was a kid. You know, I was never opposed to it, but now they've grown so big that there's thousands of people work there. Thousands. Like 6,000, I'm thinking of one place. And, you know, I'll submit my comments, but, you know, I'm really upset about this. I really am. I have no problem with the original plan. You know, and I'm gonna fight this thing to the end.
My name is Frank Greco. I'm the president of the West River Homeowners. I'm very disturbed the way this meeting was conducted for a number of reasons. First, something was ultimately wrong. The engineer at the beginning said that the West River homeowners were involved in a focus group in November. That never happened. That was a lie. I received a letter saying that we were going to discuss tonight 3 possible options. Nowhere did it ever say that you were going to close the parkway. To have a public meeting and not tell anybody what the purpose of the meeting is, which is closing down the parkway, not 3 options of where a bike path is going to be. The notice that you said there were 3 options for bike paths, not closing down the parkway. So it was not even true. You didn't tell people why there's a public meeting. And the third thing I'm concerned about is that Ray Billica came up and said the government of Grand Island never voted on this, but yet they're sponsoring it. How is that possible? How is our supervisor sponsoring this without getting approval from the town board? Just I just don't understand.
I'm a 45-year, Bob Monaco, 45 years on West River, your love. I ride my bike every day from my home to Beaver Island and back again, or Buckler back again, on West River Road. I don't see it as a problem. Yesterday, matter of fact, I counted 2 cars at Fast Street after work driving back. I love the dangerous small kids on the side of the road. I was a small kid when I grew up on West River. You have to watch when you get your mail, because you've got to buy your mailbox. It's not going to help when you have 1,300 more cars come by to the people at that end. Off the subject a little bit is that, what are we missing here? Has anybody ever driven down Grand Island Boulevard with open ditches and cattails 7 feet high? I have property in Rushford that they cut the ditches more often. It's a state land. We're doing nothing with that. You want business to locate there to go buy clothes with that. And what do we have? No sidewalks, not even around our town hall. There's a dirt bed there. People with wheelchairs in the street. And yet we're worried about a bike path on West River. What's wrong with it? You know what? We all agree whether we're for it or not for it, it doesn't make a difference. Because we're dumb taxpayers, and the politicians are going to do what they want and shove it down our throat. Because they know what's good for us. That's their opinion. Until we stand up for what we believe and stop what the wrongdoings are, it will not stop. They will tell us what's good for us, and they will do it anyways with our money. Because when the values go down in West River, I am a realtor also, and the values will go down slowly. They won't plummet. Slowly. That will be less tax revenue for you, Mr. Supervisor, because our taxes will drop over the years. And I'm not going to grab my bike and walk through 2 feet of grass to go on the parkway to ride a road that I can't ride my bike on because it's a mess. And if you have to repave that, why not just repave another section, not repave the road that's exactly existing now?
Should be good. I'm a West River homeowner. I live at 3703. I've lived there 15 years. I bought it for the reason everyone else did on West River. I like it the way it is. I ride a bike. I have no problem. I have no problem at all. The other day, my wife was coming down West River Road. She just happened to get caught behind 20, 25 bikers, 5 across, 4 deep, on a double yellow line. And she sat there, and she sat there, and she waited, and she waited, and nobody moved. She didn't want to honk a horn. You know how you always say, where's the cop when you need him? Here comes an Erie County Sheriff, comes, turns the lights on, pulls right in front of all the bikers, he pulled them all over, and he said, single file. And they all started getting all bent out of shape. And they got peeved, and my wife, she thought she called on a cell phone to get them to move over, which was ridiculous. She didn't even want to honk at them. She pulled in our driveway. When those bikers came by the house, they were still complaining about having to ride single file on West River Road. There's a few points that no one mentioned about the parkway. You're planning on closing it. You're closing it all year. All last winter, when there was no snow in Buffalo, New York, that parkway was open. Those 1,300 cars are going by my house 50 miles an hour. The speed limit at 30 is not enforced. Anybody who lives there knows it. I don't care. We have the best. We have state troopers. We have Grand Island police.
we have Erie County Sheriffs. There's no speed control on West River, and the people who live there know it. All summer long, they're over there. All winter long, they're doing 50 down West River Road. If you don't think someone's gonna get you, I've heard no one say about an impact study on all that traffic coming down West River Road. And we all know that it's not gonna stay at 30. We all know it wouldn't. And if anyone thinks, or one of you people is gonna tell us it is, you're lying. Plain and simple, it's not gonna stay at 30, and if it did, you wouldn't enforce it. I'm against it. I think it should stay the way it is. You want to put a wider lane on West River Road for bikes, that's fine. We all know that you're going to say there's a safety factor. It seems to me that everyone is ignoring the West River homeowners, and that's where you're putting this thing, this monster for us. It means nothing to you. You all get to go home. We don't.
Thank you for everyone's patience and all that input that poor Ange has been recording and writing like crazy. Before I hand off to Mark, just one more, if you did fill out a form, please make sure the Academy can leave them with Angela in a green shirt. That would be very helpful. Mark?
I want to thank you all for coming this evening, and careful, bud. Appreciate all your comments and the way in which you conducted yourselves here at the meeting this evening at the request of your supervisor. And we have got to clear this building immediately. The school district, Grand Island, has been so gracious this evening. Normally we'd be around to visit more with you, but we need to vacate the building. Thank you all for coming this evening.